Infidelity may cause intense emotional pain, but an affair doesn't have to mean the end of a marriage. Understand how a marriage can be rebuilt after an affair. Few problems in a marriage cause as much heartache and deep pain as infidelity. When both spouses are committed to healing and rebuilding the relationship, many marriages survive. In some cases, they may even become stronger with deep levels of intimacy. Infidelity isn't a single or clearly defined situation. What is considered infidelity may be different among couples and even between spouses. Infidelity can happen in all kinds of marriages. That includes marriages that seem happy as well as those with many problems. Infidelity may happen due to a variety of factors such as lack of affection, loss of fondness, love and care for each other, weak commitment to the relationship, breakdown of communication, low self-esteem, physical health issues, mental health issues such as depression or anxiety, addiction such as addiction to alcohol, sex, drugs, major life changes such as becoming parents or children living home, and stressful periods such as when spouses must be apart for a long time. When an affair is revealed, it often triggers powerful emotions for both partners. The partner who has been cheated on might feel traumatized by the betrayal of trust and loss of emotional safety. The partner that had the affair might fear that they will never be forgiven. When an affair is first discovered, it can be hard to think clearly enough to make long-term decisions. Recovering from an affair can be one of the most challenging times in a marriage. This challenge may come with mixed feelings and uncertainty, but as spouses rebuild trust, take responsibility for their actions, resolve conflict and forgive, the process may deepen and strengthen love and affection. Consider these steps to promote healing. Do not decide right away. Be accountable, get help from several sources, restore trust. If you are both committed to healing the relationship, the reward may be a new type of marriage that will continue to grow and likely go beyond your previous expectations.
Watching Family and Values. All right, yes, like you said, dealing with infidelity in marriage. Quite interesting. You can hear all of that. Now, my point comes exactly to infidelity is almost the same thing as cheating. But, well, before we get cracking, let's introduce our guest. We have from my far right, Joy Abu. She's a public speaker and a presenter. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
It's good to have you here. Good morning.
It's good to be around.
Yes, thank you for coming. And of course, we have Pastor Mike. Pastor Mike Olang was here last week and is also here to grace our program today again. Pastor Mike Olang is a human resource professional and a life coach. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you so much.
It's good to see you again.
Glad to be here once again.
You are looking human professional last week. You're also looking human professional today. I like that. Of course, yes, we're discussing dealing with infidelity in marriage. I just want to ask first, is infidelity the same thing as cheating? Are they the same thing, Pastor?
It depends. It depends on the context or the way you're looking at it. Some people it's cheating. Some people it's infidelity. It depends on the content.
Content.
And you're looking at it.
Oh.
Because you can't actually draw a line. Cheating, it's when you break trust. So which is also similar. It's also the same thing as infidelity. So we can actually say yes, cheating is the same as infidelity.
So what is infidelity itself?
Okay, infidelity, we can say it's a case where you have one spouse breaking trust, that is going out of the marriage bounds. You know, there is a promise, or there is a word, or there is a commitment that has been made when they were getting married, and there were some certain things that is meant for one person, and then you now take that thing and give to someone else.
Yeah.
So that's infidelity. You're not being faithful to your spouse. You're going out of the marriage vows to do stuff that you meant not to do outside the marriage.
Outside the marriage,
yes.
Okay, amazing. Well, aside from that, I only had to quickly go through Google to actually check the word infidelity because I want to carve out some questions from that. Now, this one says, infidelity is a violation of a couple's emotional or sexual exclusivity that commonly results in feelings of anger, sexual jealousy, and rivalry. And of course, what constitutes infidelity depends on expectations within the relationship. And of course, in marital relationship, exclusivity is is commonly assumed. So, which is exactly what you said. This one is just, they gave us compound English. So, yeah, compound English. So, I'll ask you, Joanne, what are those things that your spouse could do in marriage or relationship, which is supposed to be exclusive to yourself, both of you as partners, but you people end up doing, which is termed as infidelity?
It's obvious. Number one is when you go outside to have sexual intercourse with someone else. That is the major thing when we talk about infidelity. Let's leave the whole grammar and this thing. That is the major thing that breaks trust. And it has to do with a whole lot of emotions. It has to do with affections. So before you take that step, that means you've gone through that process of emotional affection, and then you've decided to go down to have sexual intercourse. So that's the major thing that brings that this thing in
infidelity. Okay, so Pastor, what are the main risk factor of infidelity in marriage? What are the risks? Like when your partner is an infidel in the relationship, what is the risk? What risks does it bring to the marriage or the relationship both of you are having?
Okay, well, like we've said, it's breaking trust. You know, if there's a relationship that is not trust, it will not last. So the next thing is divorce, which is not what we want to get into. So the risks there are a lot. You can't really quantify them all. There's a whole lot of risk. So, but the major thing there is to look at what this risk entails, so that you know, once you know that if I get into something, this is what is going to happen. You know, you begin to take steps to see how you can avoid those things happening. So I think the major risk there is divorce, which is what everybody doesn't want, but doesn't want to be in the marriage. So the major risk there is divorce. And she mentioned something, emotional trauma.
Trauma,
yes. And some people don't get out of it. It follows them to the grave. Those that just don't want to heal. They keep rehearsing, they keep meditating.
But it's not easy. Do you think it's that easy to heal from, you know?
It's not easy.
You know?
Yes. It's not easy. But people have gone through it and they didn't die.
Of course.
It's a difficult period. It's painful. But with proper management, one can be able to live a happy life again. Yes, either with the same spouse or with someone else. Yes, it all depends on how it is managed.
Okay, Joy, I want to ask, like what Pastor Mike said. He said it will lead to a whole lot of things, but basically the end result is divorce. Now, before the divorce happens, what are those things that you might notice in your spouse that shows that, okay, this person is not somebody I could give my trust. This person is, of course, bringing in infidelity into the marriage, which is causing a whole lot of distrust or disrupting the relationship. What are those signs that you will see from your spouse that
the truth is, before we even get to that point of divorce, a whole lot of couples live like roommates.
Roommates are not spouses anymore.
Not spouses due to that infidelity. And it's very difficult to gain the trust of that person back.
Very.
When I say it's very difficult, I'm talking from a point of experience. Now, the fact that you want to let go, but you still remember seeing the person alone, you're still having that back conversation that what if this thing repeats itself again? And what trust has your partner, what assurance has he given you, like it's not going to happen again? So the place of fear comes in. For every time you want to move forward, that fear of it's going to happen. And then there comes in possession, that comes in a whole lot. So before you even get to that divorce, you start noticing these things from your partners. You notice that someone who was open to you suddenly is withdrawn because you're scared of being hurt. And sometimes most people don't really want to walk out of the marriage. They want to be there, and they are facing all of this. They are dealing with those things one after the other. But it's terrible because it brings in fear. The fear of your own life being at risk is another thing. How trustworthy can you, if you know that thought of, if this person can do this to me, why should I trust
Trust
my
the
life
person,
with
yeah,
that person?
yeah.
So, you know, it has to do with the whole of that before you get to that. This thing. So that's just...
It's a very big deal, because a lot of people are going through this in their homes. And the first question most of them ask is, how do I deal with my spouse who is cheating? Who is making me feel so insecure, who is making me feel like I need to go through his phone, which we talked about phone yesterday, that's why I'm laughing. You know, I have to go through his phone, I have to, you know, some people go as far as hacking their WhatsApp or their messaging. Yeah, you're scared. You know, if he's not in the room, you quickly want to look at who. Yeah, you understand. Now, a lot of people are going through this, and to be factual, some of them still have the strong emotions towards their partner, but that problem of infidelity is what is keeping them very so much in fear that they don't know what to do. Now, which brings me to the question, Pastor, is how does someone handle a spouse that is, you know, bringing about this fear to the other spouse, or bringing this I can't trust you, what is he doing? You know, obviously, you know, he goes to work, but in your mind you're like, he could leave by break time and go somewhere else. Exactly. So how do you advise either the male or the female what they can do when it comes to such a scenario?
Okay, before I touch on that, I just want to quickly mention there's something she said about trust. You know, trust is something that is difficult to build, but easy to break. So when trust is broken, it takes a while for it to actually get to where it was before. To the spouse who's facing someone who is going outside the marriage and going through this emotional storm and trauma, well, it's not easy, you know, being human. That fear of he will do it again is always there.
It's always there.
So that is one major problem that you had to contest with. That fear of it's going to happen again. Now, the other person in question, what is he doing to try and make amends? Because, you know, it's two people in this thing. If the other person is not showing any sign of remorse or it was a mistake or it won't happen again, if there is no such sign, this other person will not actually be comfortable. So the other person needs to show this sign of being concerned, that look, you can trust me. Yes, of course, it's not possible that you just trust immediately.
It could take a very long time.
Very long while, and the person in question needs to prove himself or herself that look, I can't be trusted. And what do I mean by that? The person can choose to start a routine of, okay, I'm at work now. I mean, just to keep this person
look, always giving information,
you know, on the go. That is where I am now. You know, in a way, it makes that person feel okay. Yes, but at the back of the mind, you might be telling me lies. So how do I? But at least you know there is hope. Formally, he doesn't tell me. He doesn't tell me where I am. But at least if the person starts like this, so it's just giving benefit of doubt. It's both ways. Let me give this person benefit of doubt because I don't want to leave this marriage. It can still be salvaged. So I think that is one way that can help this other person. If this other person is able to give that accountability, that look, I am at this place, I am at that place, and then he says something and you confirm it's true. You know, gradually you begin to say, okay, let me see watch, let me see watch. So that's
Joy has something to say. Joy said, let me hear from you. Also, I also want you to react to the part whereby, let's say the lady is the one hurting. How will she go about it with her spouse?
You know what I was saying? Because it's very difficult for men
to keep up,
to give up or to forgive when their spouse cheats.
I'm going to ask Pastor why is that? But not now.
The ratio is just maybe 10 to 1. You see few men that are willing to accept their women back after they've messed up. So it's very easy for the ladies to accept their men back. It's very easy for the ladies to work on themselves. This routine he's talking about, it's easy for the man to be giving to the woman. The woman will be accepting. But the woman cannot give that to the man. The man will accept it. You see, that's why when we're talking about infidelity, women are the ones hurting. Women are the ones at the receiving end. Because it is a woman that will still say, okay, fine, he's still my husband, let me accept him. because you want the marriage to work. But would the man accept that? No man would want to.
Take back
After
someone.
discovering that truly this thing happened and you have all your evidences, just like the woman has all the evidences. Even with mere chats, just the man seeing I love you on the woman's phone already, he has concluded that something is
up,
happening.
yes,
So you have
yes.
to defend yourself even to that chat. You have to give reasons why that word I love you is there. Not to talk of being caught in the act. So you see, when you're talking about giving advice, I would rather say we should advise men more. Learn to accept and forgive. Learn to understand that women are also human beings that could fall into temptations, and then the place of healing comes in. Just as women generally would heal, even if they don't heal completely, they still have that 10% trust that you would not do it again.
Yeah.
But the men don't have they have zero tolerance to it.
So take
Once
it.
it happens, your family, everybody is aware, and the next thing is they are showing you the door. So you
Okay,
see-
Joy, we are going to come back to that. You pick up from that because I have a lot going through my head when it comes to the aspect. Aside from the other side, I'm looking at like why is it actually men don't tend to forgive? You know, the question will spring up from that one. So yes, Pastor Joy was saying something about cheating, where men find it very difficult to take back the women, but the women will be like, it's my husband, he will change. You know, we have this glimpse of hope for the man, but the man will be like, so what's the problem? Is it the ego, or is it what people will say, or they will say it's not man enough, which is still boils down to the ego anyways? So what is the problem there?
Okay, for me, I would say that it's a long time issue. You see, going back to scriptures now, when they brought the adulterous woman to Christ, you see, women had been on the receiving end, and it's not fair. Because it's two people that actually committed this act.
Of
so
course.
why bring one person forward and then
Leave the other side, yeah.
Okay, it's a guy, but the woman's supposed to know better. The woman's supposed to be more protective
Reserved.
of herself, and then she should. I know. So they keep the responsibility is put so much on the ladies, and to me, I feel it's not fair. It's not fair. And that is why she was saying what she was saying. So, with the men factor, there is ego. There is a lot of things going on the man's mind. What will people say? You know, my reputation. It's going to be someone else. I've gone into her, and I'm also, you know, so many things. Just to me, I feel it's not the issue.
So do you think it's okay? I'm sorry.
Okay.
Do you think it's another? Do you think it's like a psychological issue, like a mental issue for
Yes,
men?
Yes.
So is all men that have that mental issue, or what? Or there's a background thing to it, a family background to it too? I don't know. Is
well,
it?
It's a mix of a lot of things. A lot of things. It can be background, and it can also be a psychological thing. With the way the men
Are wired.
they are structured. It takes maturity actually to get out of that wiring.
Okay.
To know that, okay, we are all human, and to err, you know, is man his way, and then to forgive is divine.
It's divine.
So it takes maturity for one to say, okay, yes, this has happened. As a guy, okay, can I ask a question? Why did this happen? Maybe it could be my fault.
Yeah, yeah.
But you see, that is where people don't look in.
They don't look into
see that
know.
look. Maybe I might have done something to have preempted this. Can it be something I had done? Can I start adjusting to help this other person? Because marriage is like a contract. It's two people coming together. So if this person fails, it means I've failed. Just like a business, if the business fails, we both suffer.
Yeah, of course.
So if this person had gone into infidelity, which is not good, now the person is not happy about what had happened, of course. Now you think, as the guy, did I do anything to have caused this? Did I push her up? Is that something I've said? Am I not giving her enough time? No, there are a lot of things. Somebody will just wake up one morning and say, okay, I want to go and do this.
You know, I like the angle you're coming from. You're coming from the marital angle. How about the relationship? They are not yet married, but you find out something like that happened. Okay, take for example, I saw something on internet that was yesterday night, and this lady, I think the man caught her with a random guy, you know, cheating on him with a random guy. So the guy was angry and probably left and threw her things out of his house or something, and she went to where he works, that is his own store, and was begging with a bouquet of money you know what they do now, this surprise. I was apologizing and said that's the first time, you know, was trying to explain what happened that made her go that far. So anyways, this is just in my head. My thought is, it could even be the money they gave her that she used to do the bouquet of flowers or something. I don't even know, but that's not the point. The point is the guy was so adamant that he is not going to forgive her. Now, at that stage, do you think it's advisable to still date someone like that, or you feel it's a red flag? Don't even go there. Don't. It's something she might even do in marriage.
Okay, if that's the first time, I think there is still hope.
Okay.
If forgiveness can come to
in.
play, yes. Then if it's done again, then you know it's not a mistake.
It's not a
This
mistake.
This person,
okay.
This is who this person is.
Okay.
But that first one, you say, okay, yes, let the anger and the emotions and everything, feel it. Yes, we are all humans. Don't bottle it, don't keep it. Yes, express it. In that way, you will heal and get better. But if it happens again, then you know this is no, it's a red flag. I don't think I can go into this marriage with this person.
Okay, Joy, I want to ask now. So yes, you just said something that men is the ego and all of that makes them find it difficult to forgive women, whereas women actually just, you know, forgive with a glimpse of hope. Now I want to ask, what do you think is that thing that would push women the way we are wired? You know, you said it's just like the way men are wired. Now, for the women, to the way we are wired, when you see a woman that cheats on a man, what is the first thing that comes to mind that must have probably pushed her out to, you know, cheat on him?
Lack of attention and emotion.
Okay.
When the man, you see, before you consider the financial aspect of it, a woman would rather put down her money, put down everything for a man who gives her all the attention. As long as she believes that the future is bright for the both of you, she's ready to stay. But you see, when it gets to that point where you're not giving her attention, you're not there for her financially, and she cries to you and you're pushing her away, she will easily fall for the one who is it. I said something some time ago on the channel. I said a woman loves somebody that wakes her up to tell her good things. And if you as the husband, you're not doing now, before we even go to the part where it gets to that point of sexual intercourse, there is a process to it, and this is the process. She wakes up to somebody who wakes her up with early morning messages, asks her questions, how are you doing? And the man in the house is not doing that. He's too busy to even notice the little things, to as much as, oh, she has changed the color of her nails, and somebody out there is noticing that. Naturally, that woman is drawn to that person. And then from there, it grows to the point of you're beautiful. So it has to do with our emotions. Before a woman gets down to accept that, yes, I want to have sexual intercourse with you, she has been bought by emotions. So the money is secondary. I would put money as it's secondary. So that's that's how women are wired. We love good things. We love somebody telling us sweet things.
Yes.
We love to be noticed. So if you, as the man, either the husband or the guy in the relationship is not doing that, you're gradually losing that woman. And then when she gets to that point where she has this sexual intercourse, it comes back to what we're saying. What did I do wrong? I didn't do right.
Yeah.
And then you take it back to be, because you see, men believe that it's not in their thing to be emotional, or they feel like when I tell my woman I love you and all that, oh, she's going to get her head is going to swear, she's going to. No, but that's just the way of preserving your relationship. That's the way of keeping your marriage.
Yes.
You know, so it's a way of making it blossom and grow. I know that I'm here for you. Whatever that person is telling you, I would tell you. That's why we glamour for all those things as counselors, that tell your wife she's beautiful. Let her dress up to the mirror, and you be the first to give her that compliment. She's stepping out confident that whatever a man tells her out there, oh, my husband has
I've already said that.
So it has to do with emotions. So we are wired as the same way men are wired, and we are wired with emotions, you know. And then when the cash now comes in, it becomes a plus.
Oh, double plus. We have the emotions and we have the money. What else are we looking for? It's a way forward. Okay, since she has just mentioned reasons why women end up cheating, I want to ask now, why do men end up cheating? Just the way she said, if you're not emotionally available, if you don't compliment her, if you don't spend time with her, if you don't try to be a shoulder to lean on, she tends to look for somebody that could do that for her. Now, for a man, what pushes a man out there to go and cheat?
Okay, for the men, I think men are really thirsty and hungry for respect. Now, if the wife you have at home doesn't respect you as a man, she's always looking up to your failures, your errors, your mistake, comparing with other people. And then you get to the office, you're being complimented. Respect is there. So your respect mode is being fed outside, not at home. So it's easy, like she said, it's a process. After a while, your wife is not giving you that respect. Someone else is giving you that. You will not fall towards that person.
That's giving you
tend
the
to go to
respect.
that respect. So for men, it is that respect. But that is not an excuse. You know, in my relationship, we have to help one each other.
Yeah.
Now, like she said, men are emotional. They want to be noticed. Your wife goes to the salon, comes back, oh, your hair looks beautiful, you know, you are that. Yes, women want to be noticed. Because I had a friend that said the husband doesn't compliment her, and she loved to be complimented. So what she did that was she told the husband, come, each time I go do my hair, when I get back, compliment me. I like to be complimented. So in a way, she's trying to help the man. So that someone out there does not compliment me and I begin to fall emotionally
For the person,
him.
yeah.
Because it is one thing that leads to the other. So the same thing for the man. Okay, look, for me, I need you to respect me. I need you to encourage me. I might not be up to par, but just encourage me. It makes me feel that I am loved. Make me feel that, look, I am wanted here. So it's a two-way thing.
Is it, I agree with you, but not 100%. Because as a woman, if I go to the salon, okay, before I go to the salon, I'm telling you, please compliment me whenever I come back from the salon. When I dress well in the morning, just, you know, compliment me. You look beautiful. You understand? Just make me feel good. And you do that for the first time, you do it the second time, I come again. I tell you, okay, please, you stop doing it after you did it twice. Can you please do it? Will get to a time, I'm a woman, we will get tired.
True.
We will even get frustrated.
Very,
You'll be
very
like,
true.
please, I can't be always telling you what you need to do. You know,
Okay.
it even feels like you're not even being the kind of man we want. You understand?
Yes.
So at that point now, what would you say? Because at that point you hear men will say, I don't have time for all this thing. I'm thinking about money. I'm thinking about this. I'll not be thinking about your hair. You understand? I already paid for the hair. So why should I be, you know, understand? Now at this point, can you please speak to the men? Because I've gotten to a point whereby we have said this, like we are like 5 women and we had like 2 men. And only one person, just one man, was saying, no, why should I compliment my wife? It's not like I can't do it, but why should I always remember to compliment? I have a lot of things in my head. So there are some persons now that already believe, even if you keep telling them to compliment, they just choose to forget because they feel like what they have is more important than that. Now, I want you to please advise those type of men on how best they can do this, because that is what ends, that's what basically, So please, can you please advise them?
Okay, so for the men out there, maybe it's not part of their routine. Maybe this is the way they were brought up. You know, some men are brought up in homes where the men are the king. They are being worshipped. But we live in a generation now where everybody needs to be a part of this marriage thing. So for such men, they need to be intentional about it. Yes, it's not going to come easy because that is not the way that we are brought up. But once you are intentional with it, okay, my wife wants me to do this. Okay, I need to be intentional about it. As she's going out, okay, I need to put in my mind, okay, when she comes back, I need to compliment her. She doesn't need to tell me the second time. No, because I need to think of the long run. Now she's here, she's saying this. I don't want something to happen later
in the
on.
future,
Can I prevent that by doing what she wants so that she doesn't get it out there? So it has to take intentionality, discipline, to say, okay, look, I know this is not part of me, but I need to learn. Because this is where complimenting comes in.
Yes.
We don't know it all.
Of course, we don't.
Yeah, so the woman is telling you, okay, this is what I want. So for you to make sure that, look, this marriage works, we don't get to that infidelity. I need, because if something is important to you, create time for it.
Yes.
That is why you go to work, because if you don't go to work, no, it's important. That's why you go.
Yes, of course.
So your marriage also is important. Because if you don't do well in marriage, you might not do well at work.
Okay, all right. Yes, we're having a lot of chit-chats behind the camera. No, we are not satisfied with what Pastor Mike is saying, but don't worry, we have another guest joining us, and we have Dr. Abraham Owoseni. He's a life and leadership coach and author, also an educational leader, joining us live from Lagos. May we have you, Dr. Abraham?
Hi, good morning. Good morning, Blossom, and everyone in the studio.
Yeah, it's good to have you here, Dr. Abraham.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll just go with my question right now. So yes, Pastor Mike has been saying a whole lot, but I and Joy, we are not yet satisfied with the answer Pastor Mike gave us. Now we asked, why do men cheat? Yes, Joy has already said why women cheat, because emotional, we are not satisfied emotionally, the attention is not there, these little things that makes woman feel like a woman. You understand? She does not need to get it outside, but once she sees somebody, she's getting it already. I know you joined in the conversation already. Now we asked Pastor Mike, what makes a man cheat? And Pastor Mike said, okay, sometimes respect, and all of that. But we are not satisfied. Behind the camera before you came in, we're like, no, it can't just be respect, because I don't think respect is enough, which he already said that actually it's not enough excuse for a man to cheat. So yes, but I want to hear more. Why do men actually cheat? And in fact, if you want to go the line of beauty or anything, no, because sometimes when you look at the woman they are cheating on, even being smart or intelligent, they are not even compared to the wife at home. So what is the reason men cheat, please? Can you tell us?
I mean, that's a big symposium discussion. But then, okay, so let me approach it this way, and I must appreciate the contribution so far in this discourse. So one of the contributions I want to make right now cuts across both men and women. And last time when we were sharing around something like this, I did make a contribution that the home, the family, the marriage is like a building. And then you're building, and you get to the fourth floor, you get to the second floor, you get to the 10th floor, the 40th floor, and people are wishing you, oh, happy 40th anniversary, oh, happy 20th marital anniversary, and all of that. Now, the reason is this: if we look at it from that perspective, that a home, a family is a building, then we can understand the reasons why the likes of infidelity could play in. And I'm going to walk us through this analogy. So when you look at it physically, when a person is to build a property, a house, right? After the design is done and all of that, he gets an approval from the government. He gets, a development permit, a licensing to start building. And so that in marriage is like the wedding day. So you get an approval, right? Certified to build. And think about it. Everyone gets that approval, and then you start building. As you start building, the pitfall now happens because most people stop the building on the wedding day. But invariably, the building is supposed to start on the wedding day. Did you see that now? So we expect that all through the period of courtship, you have built the foundation, right? If that is so, then now the union has been consummated, then start building. So you find that one of the pitfalls for, issues of cracks in homes, as I like to call it, it's not even about the crack when it happened. It was just the fact that in the foundation, in the period of courtship, because I want us to see this in a more preventive measure so that this can bring a lot of value to more people, especially young people going into marriage, right? So the period of courtship is not just the period of going to the best eateries, to eat, to smile, to put on good colognes and smell well. The period of courtship is the foundation laying period of the home. It's that period where you are dealing out on different thematic issues and trying to get the same belief on it. I tried checking the dictionary meaning of infidelity, and I found that one of the things it said was variance in beliefs, right? And then which now leads to maybe parting ways or issues of cheating and all that. So you find that at that foundation laying process, we want to ensure we're on the same level. And then at the commencement of the union, aka wedding day, then we start building. We are building together. However, should we see a crack, we don't need to wait and leave the crack open. You see the little gaps in communication, you see the little friction, for a week. Oh, communication is not like before. You see that, the attention your spouse gives to you is not like before. You see that all the things you were doing before was not coming. That is seemingly examples of cracks. And if you see that in a typical building, what do? You start to address it on time. So when we look at it this perspective, we see that a union can prevent that from happening if we begin to treat the cracks ahead of time. You don't need to wait to, we don't want to wait to a time when the union finally comes down crumbling. No. So we are treating the cracks. I remember one time growing up, my parents once lived in a house where the landlord, every end of the year, just around this time, close to Christmas, the landlord invests in maintaining the house. It paints everywhere. It does a lot of maintenance work. This talks about the same understanding comes to our union, that, hey, before even the touch of infidelity, what can I do to maintain my home? I'll give you a few. Number one, I must think about it. I must have a schedule for maintenance. It could be relative to every union, vis-a-vis the contextual, the context around the home and what's available. It could be a timeout. It could be, just attention where we get to have a time where we want to communicate some more, right? It could be that they will now need to create a budget for maintenance. Maintenance needs budgeting, and I learned that, I heard a lot of conversation around that. It could also be that creativity of maintenance. So, I have you Blossom sharing that, women don't want to keep saying to men what they should do, right? Exactly. So creativity comes in maintenance. Maintenance doesn't just come by doing the facade treatment, painting the buildings alone and the walls. What else that way can I maintain the union? Especially surprises. Gary Chapman did a lot of work in his groundbreaking work, The 5 Love Languages. Which one is the two topmost of your spouse? You're trying to give that. If it's quality time and attention, if it's gift, if it's acts of service, you're trying to give as much as you can. We don't need to wait till the cracks showing up. We actually don't want to see the cracks showing up. So we are trying to spoil ourselves enough to ensure that we don't allow the cracks to show up, and it doesn't come to a point of of deficit where we're not trying to make remedial. It's almost very difficult when those happen. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Because of our time, I'll ask you one question before we let you go. The question is, can cheating be an addiction eventually? Can it be an addiction that, you have to start treatment, you understand? Not just you sitting down, let's talk about it. It has to be as a conscious treatment whereby you probably need a psychologist, you probably need somebody that you need to speak to, like a shrink, to think that.
Beautiful. I mean, awesome. Thank you, Blossom, for that, right? So it can be, one can evolve, right? There could be mistakes along on the way, but one can always evolve. One of the ways of evolution and transformation and metamorphosis as a married man, as an unmarried person, preparing for marriage, as a family person, even as grandparents, is to always be open to knowledge. You see, one thing, I found about some spouses is that, we just assume a lot because, oh, well, I've been living with this person for so and so years, so I know the person, but that's not true. So there's one book I have, somewhere, in my shelf I want to read maybe during this period. This is a book called If Needs Are Needs by William Harvey. If Needs Are Needs, building an affair-proof home. Now, that book was emphasizing how couples can build an affair-proof home. Now, so for a person, if a person chooses to invest in knowledge, he can build an affair-proof home. Now, for a person perhaps who is already involved in that, he can make a U-turn. I mean, and I love this every time I drive on the highway. I've not seen any driveway that doesn't have a U-turn. No matter how far you have gone on the wrong path, you can always choose to make a U-turn. The day you choose to make a U-turn is that day the changes come. The day you pick the phone to make a call to your spouse and say, oh, I'm so sorry. All of those single acts, those are days of the change and transformation involved. So it can, I wouldn't say it can become an addiction. I would rather say that one can transform from an erring path to the right path, because that is actually what God wants, the creator of marriage. He wants a union whereby he created marriage as a twin engine. Not an engine, not a union that will run on one engine. He wants two engines. And he was very intentional about the creation. So he wants the two people to continually improve in their learning. And if there's any gap we have found, communication. Communication, that's the point that, as we reiterated again and again, communication. So you can take time out, you can ask, no assumption. Or you can ask, oh, the way you spoke to me. Oh, we've not had sex for a month. Communication opens things up. And it's that gap, it mends the gap so that there's no crack in the union and the union does not fall eventually.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Abraham Owoseni, for that one. That was beautiful. So I would like to ask my guest in the house. Yes, you heard what Dr. Abraham said. Pastor Mike, do you think addiction, that's his own point of view, but for your own point of view, do you think addiction can actually, infidelity can be of another form of addiction if not well maintained, or, you know, like you said, communication, if not well communicated about?
Yes, I think it can become an addiction, which is a very big problem. Some people, just like what she said, men are insatiable. She mentioned something like that. Psychologically, some men have that thing in their head, that every skirt I see, I have to go in there. So there is a problem there. No, but the thing is that if that person doesn't see it, that it's a problem, then it becomes difficult to treat. Because it's often said that a madman doesn't know he's mad. But the day he realizes that he's mad, he's healed that day. So the same thing goes for such people who have been doing this, and it's now become part of them. It's like a habit. It's like, if I don't do it, I can't survive. They get into that place where they are in bondage. So it takes counseling, it takes prayers to help them get out of it. So yes, it can become an addiction.
Okay, to wrap up this section, Joy, I'm not going to ask if it's going to be if it's an addiction for women, because I've seen a lot of women that cheating is an addiction. See, give them all the money, give them the attention, they will just go for another. They will go for another man. They are just used to it. Now, also there are men like that too, and you know what even gets me worked up is when you see a man comparing women to soup. You say, how can I be eating every day? Like, I need to, you know, eat ogbono, edikayi kong, and all of that. Which sometimes I'll be like, how can you compare a full-blown grown human being to a soup, a pot of soup? So yes, now I want to ask, what do you think? Okay, I don't want to ask what the problem is. What is the way forward when it comes to someone of that nature? You will see them boldly saying it. I cannot eat one soup for too long. I have to eat different soup. And some other men will come and say, and some other women will also say that every soup is different. If I eat this, if you think it's the same soup, every soup is the same thing. So if you're eating egusi soup now, you're going outside to eat oha soup. That oha soup tastes the same way like the egusi soup you're refusing to eat. So which they mean is when you have a wife at home and you're going out to sleep with another woman, that woman you're sleeping with is the same thing as the woman. And some men will say, no, it's not the same thing. So, but the thing is, I don't want to look at the problem, but what way forward? What is the way forward? How can we help the society so that this school of thinking is actually brought down at minimal, if possible, eradicated entirely? What is the way forward?
Okay, I would say eradicated entirely, but firstly, we have to start by correcting the notion that men think that, okay, generally we think men are polygamous in nature.
Okay.
Once we are able to get that mindset off men, I think we would have minimized cases of infidelity in marriage. Because once a man has that at the back of his mind, and this is something, it's not just this generation, it's from way back. They'll refer you back to our forefathers, or they married 4, 5, 6 women.
Yeah.
So once they'll be able to deal with that, and then the way forward here is like what he said, realizing that it's wrong. It's not normal. When you took that vow to be with one person, you should have sat down. Like when somebody says forever, it's a long time. Before you get to that point of I want to be with you forever, you know, let me give you something. Sometimes somebody said, I would love you forever. And I had to say, check the meaning of that word, forever. So it means that forever is going to be only me. So the moment you break that distance, you've broken it. So let's change that school of thought that men are polygamous in nature. Let's change that school of thought that, oh, I need to test all soup, and let's deal with, you're dealing with one. And let's talk about discipline. I'm with you, I'm with you. So the way forward is bringing in discipline to play, and then bringing in the fact that the fear of God. Let's not leave that aspect. The fear of God. Whatever religion you belong to, there are procedures. There is the fear of God. There is that place of the reference of God in that marriage. So those are the things we can do. But the major thing is, let's get that school of thought off.
Yes.
And men are polygamous.
Yeah, because of our time, I like the part where you're talking about the men, but I need to also focus on the women too, because we also have where the women are also like that. They will tell you, no matter what he does, I just need to go out there and still do more, meet other men. Now, very quickly, in 10 seconds, because our time is already up, what do you think the women too should focus on? You just said remove the idea of polygamy in their head. That's for the men. For the women, what do you think they should do?
It's very simple. Before you got married to the man, you know the kind of man he was. If he wasn't complimenting you when you were cutting, what makes you think that when you get into marriage
He's going to do that?
you? So you already deal with that emotions. You should know the kind of man you're dealing with. So learn, you've gotten into marriage, deal with it and live with it. So do not, the expectation should not be too high for women. We have so much of expectations. If you didn't get that in courtship, don't expect it in marriage.
Yes.
And so if you can deal with it in courtship, deal
with it in marriage
and stay in marriage.
Okay, because marriage is not film trick, it's not magic.
Oh,
In fact, it's the best reality, or in fact, I don't know how to, it's the only reality you will ever have, because there's no other way around it. But anyway, at this point, we would like to, you know, say, draw the curtain and say thank you very much. I'll first say thank you very much, Joy Abu, for coming. It's been an amazing one with you. And thank you so much, Pastor Mike Orang. It's been very interesting. And thank you, Dr. Abraham Owoseri, for joining us from Lagos State. Thank you very much for your input. I really learned a lot.